All right, students, let's discuss the paper that we did today. And some of you found it really difficult, but let me show you some of the questions and prove that you were wrong. And in fact, if you analyzed it carefully, you would have seen that some of the questions are really easy, right? Okay, let's take the first question. You have to open this Q01A Python file, and they have given us code. Okay, it goes like this, right? First we'll try to understand what happens in this, right? First of all, we'll run this and then we'll see what happens. Enter a list of elements separated by space. So let me just type something with space, 3 elements. Right, so what happened was it identified the 3 different parts of the text which was separated by the space and extracted them and printed them as a list, as an array, as a 1D array, right? So pretty straightforward, and let's see how it happens here. Xn equals input enter list of items separated by space. So once it is entered, it is stored in the variable xn. Now there's this split command which you can use to extract certain elements of a string. So if you just use split, xn split, it is going to split from the spaces. Now suppose you put like comma, it will split from the comma. So let's run this and see. Okay, let's type something with a comma separator. There you go. So it identified the comma as the separator, right? So whatever the symbol you put here can be used to separate this stream of text, right? And here y is equals to len x, that is the length of the x. So what actually happens is, once it splits, it is stored in this variable called x, and x actually becomes an array or a list. So this will give the length of the x array. Now if I enter 3 items with spaces, the length will be 3. This one is an empty array, defining of an empty array, right? And this is the length of the x array, or else the number of elements in the array, and this will split based on the space, right? Okay, now I equals 0, while means as long as I is less than y, which means I will start from 0 and goes up to, if the total length is 3, it will go up to 2, which means 0 to 2 3 times. That's correct, right? Because we have 3 elements, and we always need to start with 0 because the array's first element is in the 0th position. Although it is the first element, it is in the 0th position, right? Okay, now in this append, what happens is we are accessing the xi. Initially it will be 0, which is the 0th position, value in the 0th position will be appended to the z array. Appending means pushing it into as a new value into the existing array, right? It won't replace any other value. It will just add whatever the number or the text in xi position, which is 0th position initially, into the z array, right? And then I will be incremented by 1 here. This is same as I plus equals 1, which is I equals to I plus 1, right? That is needed because we need to keep this while loop going on until it goes up to 2. As long as I less than y, this should continue, right? So after the while loop, it should print the value of z. right? So let's write again, space, there you go, right? So basically what happens here is it adds the string with spaces into one array, then we extract each element, put it into another array as appending. So that's what happens in this code, right? Okay, now if you look at the question, the theory question here, name two control structures used in the code. Right, so the first question is name two control structures used in the code. And if you look at the code, you see we have, now what are the control structures we have? We have sequence is here, you execute lines one after the other. You have selection, but selection is not here, no selection here. If selection is there, the if command should be there, but repetition is there, or the loop is here, which is the while loop, right? So here the answer would be repetition and sequence, not selection, right? Identify the line numbers showing the same task happen for several times, which means it is the while loop, and while loop starts from here and ends there, right? So if you count unfortunately Python idle doesn't have line number option, so you need to count the line numbers here. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, starts from 9 10 11, so it's 9 to 11, right? 9 to 11. Right, so let's look at the other one. Identify two variables and the respective line numbers it has been used, right? So many variables here. Xn is a variable, x is a variable, y is a variable, z is a variable, I is a variable, right? So you can take let's take x and I, for example, or x and y, sorry, y and I. Okay, y and I. Okay, so line numbers you can count and get it. State an advantage of using comments in codes. Well, comments are, they are not executed. These red color lines which starts from the hashtag, they are not executed. Now if you want to, hashtag is used to comment one line. If you want to comment multiple lines, you have to use single quote thrice. See, so this whole thing will be commented, right? So multiple lines, 3 single quotes, single line is hashtag, right? So the idea of commenting is to write something which will make us understand the code. For example, if I am explaining this to someone else, it's important that I write comments in special areas, right, which describes how this happens, what the logic is, what the purpose of using this variable and things like that, what the data type that we are going to use. And in the exam, it's a must that you explain, or you describe what type of data that you are going to use here. For example, here it's string, right? So if you don't mention that, they might not give marks, because in Python we don't really specifically define data types, unlike other programming languages, right? Right. So the advantage of code comments is I can use it to explain. Used to explain the code. It will be clear to understand what happens in the code, right? This is useful for you as the programmer. and the future programmers who will be editing your program. Right. Okay. Right. Finally, logical errors. Briefly explain the use of the command. Where is that question? Okay. In fact, this should come up. Should be there. Briefly explain the use of command in line number 11. Line number 11 is this, I equals I plus 1. So what actually happens is, it will increment the value of I by 1. Simple as that. Right. Finally, logical errors are one of the common errors encountered in software programs. Explain what is meant by a logical error with an example. Right. So basically, logical error is an error in the calculation. It does not terminate the program. It does not stop the program. If an error is stopping the program, it is a runtime error. If the program does not run, highlighting the code, like here for example, it is a syntax error. So that's a syntax error. And if the program runs but it is not giving the intended output, that is a logical error, right? So it is an error or a bug in the calculation or the logic of the program code that does not give us the intended output. Right. Example: multiply two values when they are supposed to be added. That's a logical error, so the answer will be wrong. Okay, hope you understood the first question, and we'll meet you with the second question after a short while. Cheers, bye.